Hello again and happy Ramadan again. Today I want to talk about the sun, which is a very famous analogy in Sufi literature of God. I like this analogy because I was thinking about how when we look at the sun, it's impossible to stare at it for more than 2 seconds without turning your eye away. And same thing is true about God. In my experience, when I have like very deep, pure, life-changing moments with God, they feel great, but I cannot stand it for more than a day maximum, and I would like to shift my attention to something more familiar to me, to come back to my comfort zone, to where I feel safe and comfortable one more time. And this also applied to my religious experience, which was also my awakening that I talked about in my first video, my dream, and how after it shook me and it completely transformed me, everything for me was oozing with God, and I felt the presence of God pulsing in everything I saw, ate, heard, whoever I talked to, and whatever I experienced. But that experience can be overwhelming because our spirituality is still weak. It's like a baby taking its first steps. It's a process. It takes time for us to be strong enough, and Ramadan is a great example of that, because God wants us to be tough soldiers on this path. If somebody disregards the religious aspect of it, like if your mom didn't know, for example, you're a Muslim, and you were telling her, I'm not going to eat or drink or sleep normally for 30 days, and for 17 hours every day, she would do anything in her power to try to change your mind. And that is, the people who love you would try to discourage you to harm yourself, because that's what it seems like from the outside. But many times God gives us tough love because He knows that the only way for us to grow and to make those spiritual muscles stronger is through tough training. And this is not something new to us. This training is when we want to go to the gym. I've been trying to go to the gym, and I quit after 5 days because it's just difficult to hang in there, to go through the pain, the soreness, the sweat, everything you have to do, the commitment. But it pays off in the long run. And if He just, I don't know, babied us and pampered us and said, oh, it's okay, do it at your own convenience, I don't want to bother you, I don't want you to wake up early in the morning, I don't want you to fast, do whatever your heart desires, we would not be ready for this tough path to eternity that we have ahead of us. In my experience, I used to follow whatever seemed or sounded good to me. To me, my whole being was leaning towards the words of love and kindness. I was shy to admit it, but I was like, oh, Christianity is all about love, but why can't we even find the word of love in the book of God? Where is love? Love is just absent, just disregarded, and it's just stories of the prophets are there. Yes, there are very touching, beautiful verses there. There are also the Sharia do's and don'ts, the ahkam, the hikmah, they're all there. But I wanted it to directly look me in the eye and say, you, my servant, I love you. Or no matter what you do, you have a safe home with me here waiting for you. Just come back to me, or I can't wait to be reunited with you. And those were the kind of things I wanted to hear. I could not find it in the Quran, and I could not find it in the Hadith either. It was just very harsh sometimes, very strong, very rigid, to the point, straight to your face. So I took refuge to poetry, where it was oozing with love. I mean, love was not just a word or something they described. They pictured life as a tangible human sitting in front of them, who would sometimes torture them, sometimes teach them, sometimes give them a remedy to soothe their pain. They would talk to it, make love to it, and praise it left and right. And that was exactly what I needed. So it was like I used the books of poetry, especially the books of Rumi, as a shield to cover me from that straight shining of that bright sun, because my eyes were still too weak to comprehend that light. So for a while I just breathed in the air of poetry, and it felt right, it felt good, I could relate to it. It was talking to me from the point of view that I wanted to look at God from. I chose that window to look at God from. And that is completely okay. Slowly but surely, I understood that you have to be able to find traces of love in the oddest places. And I was able to do that. What I'm trying to say is, we have to worship God as a whole, as a complete being. I don't want to say being, but I can't think of a wujud. That's what I mean. As a complete existence in all its manifestations. You cannot filter God. You cannot take a sift and put all God's names and all God's attributions in it and select them one by one, like, this is not what I like. Okay, you are the kind one, you are the merciful one, you are the I don't know, gentle one, you are the Rabbul Latif, Rabbul Jamil, and all of those adjectives that I felt close to. He is all that, but he's not all that. He is also Al-Malik al-Quddus al-Aziz al-Hakim. He's also Rabb al-Jabbar. He's also Qahhar, and he's also all those attributions that at first are repelling to us. We don't want to look at God in that light. We don't want to think of him of this powerful, strong sultan. We want to find him like a kind, gentle father, always babying us. But when my muscles, when my wings grew strong, and when my eyes grew strong, I could see that those attributions of God are as beautiful, even if not more beautiful, as the other attributions that I selected for myself. So I think God finds a way. God speaks all languages, and he will find what language you would understand, and he would relate to you and connect to you through that language. If you're a poetic person, he would reach out to you in the form of poetry. If you are a scientist behind a telescope or a microscope, and so on. But we also have to become linguists to be able to understand the language of God. And the language of God sometimes is clear and fluent, and sometimes it's a little bit harder to understand with a holy accent. So after I was able to not just have one eye open and open my both eyes, it was I looked at the full moon of God. I was able to look at the sun without the eclipse, and it's definitely deeper, more meaningful. It makes more sense as a whole. It describes the world better. It answers so many why. Why is this like this? Why is this like that? Why do children die? What have animals done to deserve pain? The whole system makes sense to you when you look at God through multiple windows. Not just draw the curtains at all the ideologies, all the religions, all the Sharia, all the even poetry, and just say, okay, this is my particular window, and forever I am going to stare at the same scenery from the same window. This would give you only a fraction of the picture, and it might be, you might get lucky and your window might open to an amazing scenery, but you're still depriving yourself of the whole amazing just magnificent view that is out there for you. So it doesn't matter. I mean, don't be afraid to change your point of view. Don't be afraid to sometimes put on the glasses of even Buddhism, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, mysticism, Sufism. Try them all until one by one they draw a holistic picture of God for you, and whatever picture we draw is still not God. We should burn it and throw it away and just try to perfect it and make it more beautiful and more complete. And this is an everlasting drawing session. It would never come to an end, but with every more beautiful painting that we draw, we're also making ourselves more beautiful. And with every line that we draw on that canvas to complete that picture, we are taking a step towards becoming perfect as well. Thank you for watching.